Let me tell you about someone who changed how I think about money forever. Ronald Read was a janitor and gas station attendant. When he passed away in 2014, everyone expected a modest estate. Instead, he left behind $8 million. No lottery win, no inheritance, just decades of consistent saving and the magic of compound interest doing its work quietly in the background. This story reveals something profound. Building wealth isn't about how smart you are or where you went to school. It's about how you behave with money. Financial success is less about what you know and more about how you act. Today, I want to share 5 powerful lessons that can transform your relationship with money. Lesson 1. Everything has a price. Imagine you're at a store eyeing an expensive watch. You have 2 options: pay for it or steal it and run. Obviously, you'd pay. You understand that nice things come with a price tag. Investing works the same way. If you want high returns, you need to pay a fee. But this fee isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in volatility. Think about someone who invested heavily in Netflix 10 years ago. Today they'd be wealthy, but could they have afforded the emotional cost? In 2011, Netflix lost massive numbers of customers, and the stock crashed 80%. Imagine watching your life savings evaporate by 4/5 in just months. Could you face your family? Would you still believe in your investment thesis? Even conservative investors pay this price. If you'd bought an S&P 500 index fund in 1980, you would have experienced roughly 13 years when your portfolio was down 20% from its peak and about 8 months when it dropped 50%. Here's the kicker. If you invested in the S&P 500 20 years ago but missed just the 4 best trading days, your return would be 164% instead of 291%. Nearly half your gains come from a handful of days you can't predict. The lesson? Volatility isn't a fine you pay occasionally. It's an admission fee you must accept. View it as the cost of admission to long-term wealth creation. Lesson 2. The comparison trap. There's a fascinating phenomenon where someone receives a $2 million bonus and feels great until they discover their colleague got slightly more. Suddenly, they're miserable for a year. Capitalism excels at 2 things: creating wealth and creating envy. Let me paint a picture. Bill is a specialized doctor earning $500,000 annually, top 1% in America. He drives luxury cars, takes exotic vacations, lives comfortably. Then he buys a vacation home in the Hamptons next to Stan, a CEO making $10 million yearly. But Stan isn't satisfied either. He grew up with Michael Jordan, who's worth $2 billion, and even Michael attends parties with Jeff Bezos, whose wealth is measured in hundreds of billions. There's always a bigger fish. This comparison game has destroyed lives. People have leveraged everything trying to climb higher, only to lose it all. Some have committed crimes that cost them their freedom and reputation. Others have sacrificed their families in pursuit of more. If you follow sound investing principles, you'll likely achieve financial freedom that most people only dream about. But at some point, you must decide that enough is enough. Don't risk what you have and need for what you don't have and don't need, even if part of you wants it. Lesson 3. Understanding different perspectives. Why do low-income households spend over $400 annually on lottery tickets? 4 times more than wealthy households, when many can't even afford a $400 emergency. At first glance, it seems irrational. But step into their shoes for a moment. They live paycheck to paycheck, with zero savings cushion. They lack education and career advancement opportunities. They can't afford vacations, new cars, or college for their kids without crushing debt. The lottery ticket isn't foolish spending. It's buying hope. It's purchasing entry into a dream that many of us already live. Understanding this makes you a better investor. When you acknowledge that people have different backgrounds, goals, and risk profiles, you stop blindly copying strategies that don't fit your situation. A billionaire's conservative portfolio might be terrible for someone still building wealth. A day trader's approach might be disastrous for your personality and timeline. Recognizing these differences helps you stay in your lane and resist investments outside your expertise. Lesson 4. Preparing for the unpredictable. What do the Great Depression, World War II, the 2008 financial crisis, and COVID-19 have in common? They reshaped society, devastated markets, and were essentially impossible to predict beforehand. These are what Nassim Taleb calls black swans, outlier events with extreme impacts that seem obvious only in hindsight. Imagine experiencing Black Monday in 1987, watching the market lose nearly 25% in one day. Would you panic and sell? Or would you stay calm and possibly invest more? The lesson isn't to predict disasters. That's impossible. Instead, prepare yourself mentally and financially to survive them. Stop obsessing over economic forecasts. The events that will truly shake markets are precisely the ones nobody sees coming. Lesson 5. The allure of bad news. Why does pessimism sound so intelligent, while optimism sounds naive? If I warned you about market crashes, government debt, and looming inflation, you'd listen intently. But if I shared how life expectancy is rising, renewable energy is becoming cheaper, and technology is advancing exponentially, you'd probably shrug. This bias is evolutionary. Our ancestors who treated threats as urgent survived and reproduced. Those who were overly optimistic became lunch. Progress also happens slowly, while setbacks happen fast, making pessimistic stories more dramatic and compelling. Understanding this bias helps you resist it. The world is better than you think. You just need to look at the right time frame. If you found these insights valuable, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss our new finance education content. These lessons could be the difference between financial stress and financial freedom.